fundamental diversity.
That's why we have a written constitution. You might take that idea back to the UK with you.
Well,
because the freedom of speech applies 365 days a year here under the First Amendment, not 364, 363, depending on some politicians heckling the government and telling them to shut down free speech.
We have allowed mass pro-Gaza demonstrations in London, weekend after weekend.
No thanks to you. All right, let me change.
This was
let me try another one.
Particularly sensitive day. That's all.
I got you. It was a sensitive day. And I thought that's what the freedom of speech was about. You have a right to engage in speech that other people consider offensive or insensitive. But in any event, you've made yourself clear, Mr. Farage.
64 days a year if they want.
You've made yourself clear to your constituents in Claxton today. Let me ask you this.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a heated political exchange that touched on freedom of speech, global press freedom, and some very pointed questions aimed at Nigel Farage. This was one of those moments where politics, media, and personal accountability clashed hard. Let's break it down into 10 bullet points you need to hear. And if you like content that gets straight to the point, hit that subscribe button right now, and let's get into it.
The gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, when I was a professor of constitutional law, I used to teach my students that freedom of speech is like an apple. And everybody wants to take just one bite out of the apple. Somebody doesn't like left-wing speech. There's a bite. Somebody doesn't like right-wing speech. Somebody doesn't like feminist speech. Somebody doesn't like sexist speech. And everybody just wants to take one bite. But if we let everybody take a bite, at the end of the day, there's no apple left. It's all gone. So if you want to defend free speech and you want a society that's defined by free speech, you've got to accept even the speech you oppose, the speech that you abhor. Now, Professor Kaye, we want to try to bring some objectivity to the conversation. I looked up the Reporters Without Borders rankings of every country in the world, according to press freedom. Norway was #1. North Korea was number 179. It's like a totalitarian dungeon. The UK was number 20. The US was number 57 under Trump, down from 45, where it was before. Russia, which some people here lionize, was at 171, right? So if we were going to undertake a serious study of the state of press freedom all over the world, for example, where should our focus be?
I appreciate that question. I have a very long list that I could highlight.
But just tell us methodologically, quickly, how we should go about doing it if we wanted to undertake this in a serious way.
Absolutely. I mean, I would really use the lens of what do we need as a democracy in order to be well-informed, in order to make choices about our democracy, to make choices about our health. What do we need? We need an open press. We need open government. We need access. We absolutely don't want to see websites scrubbed, as this administration has done. So I would look at it through that lens, through the lens of what we need in order to have a democracy.
Gotcha. So, Mr. Farage, first of all, to be called charming by you, a man of your evident erudition and dazzling brilliance, is undoubtedly a Lifetime Achievement Award for me, so I will hold it closely. But I wanted to ask you about your commitment to the freedom of speech universally. I think it's a principle that you advocate for everyone, not just for people who are in your party or people you agree with. You said that there should not have been a protest against the Gaza war in the UK. And then when it went ahead, the police refused to shut it down. You called them gutless for not shutting it down. Do you regret having opposed that, given that there was no violence there and there were 700,000 people who wanted to express themselves that day?
I have not opposed people standing up and protesting in favor of people living in Gaza at all. There was one particular day, and it was the Sunday nearest November the 11th, which was when we had big memorial services in London, and I think a march being allowed to go ahead on that day would have been a mistake. Any other day, fine.
Oh, I see. Who gets to decide that?
Well, I think actually something that is embedded in the country, something that is absolutely fundamental to
That's why we have a written constitution. You might take that idea back to the UK with you.
Well,
because the freedom of speech applies 365 days a year here under the First Amendment, not 364, 363, depending on some politicians heckling the government and telling them to shut down free speech.
We have allowed mass pro-Gaza demonstrations in London, weekend after weekend.
No thanks to
after
you.
Weekend.
All right, let me change.
This was
let me try another one.
particularly sensitive day. That's all.
I got you. It was a sensitive day. And I thought that's what the freedom of speech was about. You have a right to engage in speech that other people consider offensive or insensitive. But in any event,
every right
you've made
to
yourself
do it.
clear,
They can
Mr.
do it
Farage.
364 days a year if they want to.
You've
Not
made
on
yourself
that day.
clear to your constituents in Claxton today. Let me ask you this. You've banned journalists from your political events that you disagree with, haven't you?
No, in fact, I'm the only political
Really?
leader
At your
in Britain.
convention, you didn't ban journalists and revoke their
take-
credentials?
You know, I take, the average press conference, I take 25 questions.
No, that wasn't my
All
question. Mr. Farage,
elements
we're politicians, so we see what you're doing. I'm asking you a direct question.
Well, thank you. I'm very pleased
I'm
you
asking
do.
you a direct question, and I hope you can answer it. Why do you ban journalists who oppose your views from coming to your events? Why did you tell your party, why did you tell the local government not to do interviews with your local newspaper?
I am the most open person to any journalist.
Undoubtedly,
whatever
you're
they
the
think,
handsomest man in
and
the
I do
world.
it-
But I'm
and
asking you a different
I do it
question,
every
okay?
day.
That's not my question. My question for you is, and it's legit, why do you ban journalists that you disagree with from your political events, like from your convention?
I don't.
Okay, and you say you've never done that?
I can't think, if I go back the last 25 years, I can't think of banning anybody. But I mean, maybe somebody else did. But look,
I see. It was somebody
I
else
repeat
who
the
did
point.
it.
I do more. I take more questions.
All right.
From
Do you-
journalists.
do you have
than all
any
the other
objections?
leaders added up together.
Okay. Mr. Price, let me ask you, you're an honest man. Do you have any objection to the things you've heard about what Donald Trump is doing in the United States of America, going after law firms, for example, banning them from federal buildings and federal courthouses, stripping them of security clearance, saying they can never get federal jobs or contracts because he doesn't like something one of the lawyers at the firm did? Do you think there's a First Amendment problem with that, as our courts have found?
There's a lot of information you've put into that. It's good to talk to you again after London.
Yeah, have you followed that at all?
I haven't. I have to
I
be
see.
perfectly honest with you now.
Okay, do you have any problems with anything Donald Trump has done with respect to free speech and freedom of expression in America? Or you just haven't followed it?
I'm not as well. There are plenty of people here better informed on American matters than I.
And we are. So thank you very much. And Mr. Chairman, thank you for your indulgence. I yield back.
I think the gentleman, my guess is Mr. Farage takes press questions probably as often as President Trump does. These are two guys who aren't afraid to talk to the press and take any question that comes to them. We've seen that display time and time again. The gentleman from California.
All right, first up, the conversation starts with an incredibly powerful analogy. A former constitutional law professor compares freedom of speech to an apple. Everyone wants to take just one bite, censor this, ban that. But if everyone takes a bite, there's no apple left. Basically, if we want a society with true free speech, we have to defend even the voices we hate. Then the focus shifts to real-world data, the Press Freedom Index. Norway's at the top, the UK is 20th. The US? It dropped from 45th to 57th under Trump. And for context, Russia is at 171 and North Korea dead, last at 179. It's a brutal reminder that the battle for a free press isn't theoretical, it's measurable. Next, a key question is asked. How should we even evaluate press freedom? The answer is simple but deep. Look at what democracy needs: access to information, an open government, and a media that isn't scrubbed clean by political power. You can't have an informed public without open dialogue, even when it's messy, even when it's uncomfortable. Now things get more direct, and a lot more tense. Nigel Farage is asked about his criticism of a pro-Gaza protest in the UK. He called the police gutless for not shutting it down, but when pressed, he clarifies. He wasn't against the protest itself, just the timing, which coincided with a Memorial Day. But here's where it gets spicy. The American speaker fires back, reminding Farage that in the US, freedom of speech doesn't take days off. Not for politics, not for sensitivity. Free speech here is protected 365 days a year. If you're still with me, do me a favor. Hit that like button so more people see this breakdown. Then comes a big accusation. Farage is asked if he banned journalists from his political events. He denies it, kind of. He says he personally didn't, but admits maybe someone else in his party did. Instead of a straight answer, we get deflection, a lot of it. And just when it couldn't get more awkward, he's asked about Donald Trump banning law firms from government buildings because of political disagreements. Is that a free speech issue? Farage dodges again, saying he hasn't followed the story closely. He refuses to critique Trump, leaning on the old "I'm not informed enough" excuse, even though he's neck-deep in US politics regularly. So what's the takeaway? We saw a bold defense of free speech, a global snapshot of press freedom, and a political figure dodging accountability with Olympic skill. Whether it's about banning journalists, protest rights, or Trump's First Amendment issues, the principles of free expression are on trial in every democracy. And if you value honest conversations like this, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. I've got more content coming your way that cuts through the noise and goes straight to what matters. Drop a comment below. Do you think Farage dodged those questions? Do you agree with the Apple analogy on free speech? Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.